Which champions are most optimal to climb out of specific ELOs? That's the question we'll be diving into and answering today. We'll be grouping the ranked tiers into 3 different ELO brackets and covering 5 champions for each bracket. Iron, Bronze, and Silver will be the low ELO bracket. This is where 71% of the League of Legends player base lies. The next ELO bracket up from it will be Medium ELO. Gold and Platinum will be the tiers in this bracket, and 26% of players are in these tiers. Next bracket will be High ELO, consisting of Diamond and above, which holds only 3% of the entire player base. So now that you know the format of the video, let's dive right in. But before we get into it, be sure to check out Skill Capped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description below. Starting things off with the low ELO bracket, our top lane selection is Garen. Garen is such a reliable champion to main for the lower ELOs because he's got a very linear yet rewarding kit. Combos are extremely simple to pick up on, and you'll understand your damage limits very quickly. Once you learn the limits of Garen, it becomes very easy to punish lower ELO players. All of Garen's damage is point and click, so when you have the enemy in lethal, it's almost impossible for you to mess up kills. Matchups really don't matter a ton in the lower ranks, but Garen is sporting a 53% win rate into Jax at the moment, who is the most played top laner. You simply cannot go wrong with Garen if you're looking to climb out of low elo from the top lane, so he's our first recommendation. A new jungler who has emerged onto the scene this season who's a phenomenal carry for the lower elos is Mordekaiser. Mord is a great hard farm jungler which helps a ton in your ability to be consistent. If your lanes fall behind early game, it's not the end of the world, as level 6 Mord is absolutely incredible in skirmishes. Your main win condition on Mord should be to farm as efficient as possible, stay ahead of the enemy jungler, and look for more proactive plays at level 6. This is something that's very easy to play towards, which makes Mord a perfect jungler for the lower elos. Due to Mord's power level for the lower ranks, our challenger experts have created a highly detailed guide on how to play Mord jungle for Season 13, so if you want to learn the champ, it's a great resource and can be found on our website. Escaping low elo from the mid lane is made a whole lot easier if you start spamming Malzahar. Malz is actually indirectly buffed this patch, with Demonic Embrace having its burn damage increased for ranged champions. The key for Malz is to hit his Lost Chapter spike unscathed. This is so much easier to do in the lower ranks where players don't know how to punish Mal's weaker laning as much. A very underrated strategy that's even better for the lower elos on Malz is starting the game with a mana crystal plus refillable potion instead of a Doran's ring. This helps you accelerate to that Lost Chapter spike much faster. What a lot of high elo Malz players do that more low elo Malz should be adapting is running Futures Market in runes. Futures Market in combination with the mana crystal start lets you hit Lost Chapter extremely quick. After Lost Chapter buy, it's smooth sailing as you begin perma-shoving waves and look to play for picks around your ultimate's cooldown. It's likely there will never be a better ADC to climb the lower elos than Misfortune. ADC is one of the most mechanically intensive roles, since most champs deal the brunt of their damage from auto-attacking. This makes spacing and positioning properly way more important than other roles. The smallest slip-up and you're easy pickings for the fed assassin on the enemy team. Misfortune is different though, as she's way less reliant on being up close and vulnerable to be impactful. All you need is that one good ultimate, following up on your team's engage, and that's all you have to do to win a fight. In many instances, you won't even have to auto-attack once to be more useful than the enemy ADC. Our How to Carry and Low Elo course for ADC is a great resource you guys can use if you're serious about improving your rank for Season 13. One of the most contested supports in Iron, Bronze, and Silver, and rounding out our low Elo picks is Lux. Although Lux is a little more mechanical than most supports, if you're following this strategy, that really doesn't matter. The true power of Lux lies in her ability to pick off targets from long range as they walk into the fog of war. When the enemy is walking in a predictable path towards you, it's not difficult at all to line up a bind and follow with your one-shot combo. Since you build Lux support full AP, you can easily solo carry games in the lower ranks simply by playing around Fog of War. You want to think of Lux like a ranged assassin, sitting patiently and waiting for the enemy to face check into you. Secure vision around objectives 1 minute before they spawn, sit in a bush and wait for the enemy to walk into you, one-shot them, and rinse and repeat. In the lower ranks, players will aimlessly face check way more often, constantly walking alone from their team, and Lux can punish that insanely hard. Fresh off his mini rework, our recommended top laner for Gold and Platinum is Jax. Jax is in an extremely powerful spot right now and is the perfect top laner for the medium elo brackets. Mechanically, Jax isn't all that difficult to learn, but he does require a little more knowledge than Garen in regards to understanding your windows of opportunity. So much of Garen's damage comes from abilities, while Jax does the brunt of his damage from autos, which can be a little more difficult to calculate expected damage output. Regardless, Jax is a champ who spikes super hard with items and is a monster split push threat, so if you can farm consistently, you're going to find ways to be impactful. Once you reach the medium elo brackets as a jungler, a proactive ganking champion like Zac is a phenomenal option. Not only can Zac gank really well, but he's more forgiving than most carry junglers, as his passive and tankiness allow a greater margin for error. Despite Zac's ability to gank really well, he's not 100% reliant on winning early game to be effective, which makes him amazing as well. The Radiant Virtue build going around offers great utility for your team, so even if you're behind, you have the ability to complement your carries. Anivia is insane for any elo bracket right now, but even more so for gold and plat. The problem with Anivia in the higher elos is that she can be exploited a lot more for her weaker early game. In the lower elos, she can be a little too mechanically demanding for newer players to pick up. Gold and plat being right in the middle allows Anivia to fit in perfectly. Recent Rod and Archangel's buffs have given Anivia a ton of power, and she's an OP mid on our tier list, so definitely a champ we highly recommend. Even in Gold and Platinum, support players play a ton of Lux and Morgana, which gives insane value to Caitlyn as our medium elo ADC. Kate is definitely more mechanically intensive than Miss Fortune, but compared to most other ADCs, she's relatively easy to pick up. Proper trap usage based on the situation, and just being able to consistently place traps in time to chain off of your teammate's CC will take some time to get used to. Once you got that down though, the potential of Kate is super high, as her longer auto range and shove power gives her great agency in lane compared to most ADCs. One of the best supports in the entire game is Amumu, and he's an amazing pick for Gold and Plat. Once you reach Gold and Plat, most of your ADCs will be competent enough to play off your engage. Below Silver, however, it's not really that consistent, which is why someone like Lux, who can do everything on her own, is our low elo pick, while Amumu is better suited for mid elo. Amumu can do a ton of damage on his own at level 6 with a full combo, so all you need is your ADC to be half decent in order to see success of the champ. Our first high elo recommendation and the top lane pick is going to be Gangplank. Gangplank is in a really good spot at the moment, and high elo players have the ability to exploit this to the max. Although the relative skill floor of Gangplank is not all that high, his skill ceiling is, which makes him better suited for experienced players. If you can play Gangplank to his limits, he can be flat out the best top laner in the game without question. With recent nerfs to Maokai, there is no better jungler to spam for high elo than Elise. The only thing that holds Elise back for the average player is her higher skill floor, but that is not nearly as much of an issue for high elo players. To get the most out of Elise, you need to be playing off her strong early game dive power, and in high elo, you can be much more confident your teammates will follow up on the plays properly. With Elise, you have so much agency over how the early game plays out, and can snowball better than most junglers. In high elo, where obtaining early game leads and accelerating off of them is more reliable, it gives Elise a ton of power. By far the most slept on mid laner in the game right now, and an excellent pick for high elo, is Cassiopeia. We didn't really focus on matchups at all for the reasoning behind the low elo picks, but that's a different story for the higher ranks. In high elo, where matchups matter a lot more, Cass is destroying so many of the meta mids. Ryze is the most played mid right now, and Cass is winning over 54% of the time in the matchup. The only top 10 play rate mid laner Cass has a negative win rate against is Yasuo, while she's performing the best into Sylas, winning over 56% of the time. Recent Rod and Archangel's buffs, combined with Cassio's amazing meta matchups, make her a godlike carry for high elo. 13.2 is looking absolutely massive for Draven, as he's our high elo recommendation. Essence Reaver and Eclipse have been given added snowball power, which will be massive for a lane-dominant ADC like Draven. Draven works much better in the higher ranks, where he can rely on his support to play around his early game power. Although Draven can take over games on his own after he gets a few kills, securing those initial kills and getting the ball rolling is more dependent on how your support plays. This makes Draven a little more coin flip for the lower ranks and more consistent as you climb the ladder. Since it's much easier to close out games with an early advantage in higher elos, Draven brings a lot to the table. An OP tier support for a while now, and especially potent for the higher elos, is Blitzcrank. Blitz is obliterating meta enchanters being played in high elo, as Nami, Karma, and Lulu are the 3 most played in Diamond Plus. Blitz also does very well into the Ashe pick, being prioritized in high elo a ton. Being 100% reliant on landing consistent hooks to be effective, Blitz is best suited in the hands of players that are more mechanically sound. You can still see great success with Blitz in the lower ranks, but he's got even more potential in high elo, where your ADC plays off catch plays much better. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about Skill Capped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent challenger players into ELO hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving. So there you have it, guys, the best champions from every single ELO bracket in Season 13. Thank you all so much for watching. Good luck in solo queue, and we'll see you all in the next one.